all the borders within Africa are artificial borders created by businessmen.
How large is the Nigerian community in South Africa?
Nigerian in South Africa currently on our database is not less than 500,000.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
Legal, illegal?
Both. And that's why we are pushing for legalization. It has come to time we must celebrate the uniqueness of Africans in South Africa, doing well, contributing to the economy of this nation. Generalizing South Africans as being xenophobic, that is unfair assessment. Nigerian unions, we encourage people to be productive. The name Nigeria is too loud. And also our people are not helping the matter. We are also loud.
Exactly. I was going to mention that as well because our people are, Jesus.
Even if a Nigerian commits a crime, no Nigerian should support that person.
Yeah.
Everyone should come out and condemn them to say, no, we are not part of this ill.
What are the misconceptions that people have about Nigerians in South Africa?
The misconception is whenever you see any Nigerian, he's a criminal. Once you target people from outside, foreigner in general, then you can tag that as xenophobic. But when you target set of people, blacks, then we say that is Afrophobic. The ordinary South African thinks that the foreigners will come here and compete with them. Their claims are legitimate, let me tell you.
Hi everyone and welcome to the maiden edition of Africa Talk right here on the Lifestyle League. Now, if you're passionate about Africa, if you're passionate about the continent, trust me, this is where you should be. Africa Talk. Today we are going to be discussing leadership and power in Africa regarding Nigeria, South Africa, and the continent. And I have the best person here to do justice to the topic. So you need to sit back and relax because this episode is going to be like one of the amazing episodes you've ever seen on the Lifestyle League Africa Talk. Now, today I have with me Prince Barrister Smart Nwobi. He's an attorney of the High Court of the Republic of South Africa and also the head of the Nigerian Union. Prince, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming to the show. I mean, I remember we've been discussing this for the past 3 months and you took time out of your busy schedule, to be here today. So we appreciate you. So let's go straight to the topic. I'm excited about this episode because you are the head of the Nigerian Union here. So I'm excited because you will be giving us so many things we're going to learn from this episode. Nigeria, South Africans, and Africans in general. But before we go into that, we want to look into you, your background. Can you tell us a little about your background and then why law? How did you start the journey, to where you are today as an attorney of, I just mentioned attorney of
the Republic
of South Africa. Like one would have expected to hear of Nigeria. So we want to have a little background of how you got to where you are today.
Thank you very much for having me on your show.
Thank you very much.
Yes, it is a deep desire to explore Africa, to build bridges between, most importantly, these two giant nations, giant economy in the African continent. As you know, Nigeria and South Africa are big brothers and big sisters, in all ramification.
True.
Yes, true. I moved down to South Africa at about 2006, after completing my matric, seeking further opportunities and to how to learn more about my continent. And I came here, started studying LLB with the University of South Africa, UNISA. Where I completed. And thereafter, I did my articles of clerkship within the legal frameworks and spectrum. And I was eventually admitted as the attorney of the High Court of South Africa. Similarly, in Nigeria, in the other Commonwealth country, they call them barrister. I know. Currently, I'm a practicing attorney, a director that has other attorneys under my tutelage, under my chamber. Thank you.
Okay, so I also wanted to know something. What inspired you to be, because I'm part of the WhatsApp group, of the Nigerian Union, and when you came up as, I think there was an election or so, like
yes.
two years ago.
Yes, in
and
2024.
Oh, okay. So, and then you emerge as the winner. And of course, after that, I saw you also got a chieftaincy title.
Correct.
In Imo, is it Imo State?
In Enugu State.
Is Enugu?
Enugu,
because
yes.
I saw the videos was shared on your group, and I was excited. Like, wow, you're breaking, boundaries, in Nigeria and in South Africa. We'll talk about the chieftaincy title later. But what inspired you to be the head? Because as far as I'm concerned, when we talk about Nigerians, you are in numbers and all that.
Correct.
Maybe not like Zimbabwe or other country, but there must be a reason, there must be a mission behind you being the head. So we want to hear a little about it.
Thank you very much. As you know, that Nigerian Union was created as far as 2008.
2008?
2008. It's
Wow.
been in existence. And this union was created to cater for the interests of the Nigerians living and working within the South Africa country. The leadership of this union sought for a capable leadership. There was a leadership vacuum, and I was consulted if I could take up the leadership. As you know, that I'm quite busy as a practitioner with my day-to-day career. This is a union. They're in no way a political party. It's just a union. Some people might misunderstand it. They're solely there to hear the issues of the Nigerian people, relate that back to the mission houses. When I say mission houses, the embassy in Pretoria, and
the Nigerian embassy.
The Nigerian embassy in Pretoria, and Consulate General in Johannesburg, who has different jurisdictions when it comes to political matter as well as domestic matter. And when there's an issue between the host nations as well as a Nigerian citizen, these diplomats are in a better shape to address this to the South African authorities. However, they need people on ground, a union on ground that will be able to feed them back with the actual information of what is happening in order for them to be able to take proper instructions as well as communicate what is happening. So going back to why I ran for that position is because the union needed leadership. It comes to a time that maybe the host nation might not really understand who we are as Nigerians. Some people are shy away to talk about some of the vices, but we're not. So in Nigerian unions, we encourage people to be productive. And Nigerians are known to be productive. And in every system or in every nation, there are few bad eggs, that tend to paint the others with the
good name.
Taint the good name. So we are there to ensure that we tell the host nations that we do have Nigerians that are doctors. We have Nigerians that are lawyers. We have Nigerians that are engineers. We have Nigerians that have rare skills that are assisted in all spheres of life. Lecturers, yes. Mathematics teachers, physicians. So they are there to contribute to the economy of the nation. So, and Nigeria and South Africa has a very good relation dating back apartheid. Yes, we have a very fantastic relationship. And if I can tell you, the remittances from companies, from South African companies that are domiciled in Nigeria are quite enormous. And if the government can be open and tell you how much remittances those companies remit back to South Africa to boost the economy, then the ordinary citizens will not understand why those relationships.
How large is the Nigerian society, the Nigerian community in South Africa? When you look at all the provinces, how large is it? Like, do you have an estimate, like a number in mind? Correct.
If you go on Google, there are estimations, there are speculations. As the President General of the Nigerian Union in South Africa, I can tell you we have presence in all the 9 provinces across South Africa.
Is it 9 or 11?
11 provinces.
Oh, okay.
We've got presence. We have a structure. Our structures of the Nigerian Union stems from the national leadership. It goes across the provincial, and goes to the ward leadership, and which is council leadership. So we have, if something should happen, for example, in KwaZulu-Natal, in a particular area in KwaZulu-Natal, we have a set of Nigerian, structured Nigerian union that will report back to the provincial leadership, and the provincial leadership will report back to the national leadership, which I'm in charge, and with the same organogram, will report back to the mission houses, and before you know it, Abuja will have gotten the direct information of what is happening. So with the estimate of Nigerians in South Africa, I can tell you, Nigerians in South Africa currently on our database is not less than 500,000.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
500,000.
Correct.
Legal, illegal?
Both. And that's why we are pushing for legalization. That's why we are pushing for documentation. So you see, we share the migration has been an old age issue.
Yeah.
People around SADC regions, beyond SADC region, Africa, people migrate for one reason or the other. There are people who migrate for economic reasons. People migrate for prosecution reasons. People migrate for a change of weathers and other things. But however, what is paramount is the host nation to have a clear policy of who to admit and who to deport out of the country, to have a strong legal system. I am an immigration lawyer, if you may know. I deal with the issue of immigration, migration on a day-to-day basis. And I can have, in fact, busy with my PhD, my doctorate degree, I have proposed, I've recommended mechanism in order for South Africa to tighten its borders and be able to fish out those that are not documented and how to deal with that. And also to open the policy so that people will understand what are these migration policies, before they're moving down to South Africa.
The first time I met you was at a seminar organized by the Nigerian Student Union.
Correct.
You know, where you also encouraged people to be legal.
Be legalized,
and personally, I also encourage that because there's no point being in a country and being illegal, especially in a place like South Africa. If you want to be legal, there are so many ways. You did mention something that is where there's a will, there will always be a way.
Correct.
You know, so I personally don't encourage that people be illegal. You know, be legal, come straight. You know,
Correct.
Don't just come through the corners.
Report yourself to the system.
Exactly, be in the system, be a part of the system. You know, but when you talk about 500,000, it's
alarming.
It's alarming, but the country itself is about 70 million, so that's about 0.05% or something. So, because when you talk about the population of Nigerians, and sometimes when you go online, it seems as if Nigerians are like 10 million or 20 million, you know, because of the, you know, content.
No accurate data.
No accurate data.
No accurate data. Let me tell you.
But it could be above that.
Yeah, it could be above that. Let me tell you something. South Africa could take advantage of the brain drain happening in some African countries. Let me tell you this. Most of the African brightest are moving down to South Africa. Now, South Africa should have kind of a system, a web of identifying who are these people moving down to them. I can tell you most Nigerian doctors between 5 to 10 years ago have moved down to South Africa. Some of them are now moving to Europe. These are the best heads from the Nigerian system. In fact, the Nigerian government as well as the governors are encouraging a kind of packages to ensure that these people return back home. Yes, stay back. But there are different reasons, maybe the payment packages and other things. So the question is, when these good brains move into your system and you're unable to take advantage of them to strengthen or boost your economy, that is lack of vision for government agencies. Yes, but be it as it may, we all know about the Japa syndromes. You know, good heads want to leave the country, and if they are accommodated elsewhere, they will contribute to those economy. If you go to UK, I'm telling you, 60% of people who hold the economy of UK, most of them are from Nigeria. And now you now think why UK absorbed, because there is a steady system. Even if you think that they are unruly, but there's a system to contain the unruliness.
Amazing. But I want to quickly touch on something. What are the misconceptions that people have about Nigerians in South Africa? I know some already, but
Yes.
I would want you to talk about it. Like, what do you think are the misconceptions?
The misconceptions are numerous. In fact, I would even appreciate that this kind of engagement happens within South African youths, in leadership.
Yeah, we'll eventually get to that
so
point.
that we can interact, and talk about them. That it has come to a time we need to talk about them, in a social cohesion manner in order to educate people. The misconception that South Africa or ordinary South African have about the Nigerian is whenever you see any Nigerian, he's a criminal. Without shying away, without an apology. And that is obviously what we as a union will stand for. We want to correct those perceptions because we're not telling our stories. We are not telling who we are. Let me tell you something. We have done a survey whereby if you go to a rural area, once you are not a South African, once you are a foreigner, let me just put it this way, once you're a foreigner. An ordinary South African will regard you as a Nigerian. Some of them do not know the difference between a Nigerian, a Ghanaian, a Cameroonian, a Zimbabwean.
Maybe they know Zimbabwe because
Zimbabwe, maybe, but I can tell you the name Nigeria is too loud.
Very loud.
Yes, very loud. And also our people are not helping the matter. We are also loud.
Exactly. I was going to mention that as well because our people are, Jesus, I'm not even sure where to start from, but that needs to be checked.
Yes, but that is the uniqueness and the diversity of the people. So you cannot take it away from them.
Absolutely.
But what we need to do is to ensure that the host nation, because we need to communicate. We are not communicating enough.
Yeah.
We communicate in the wrong ways. And when there's an ill that happens, maybe something bad that happens, then the Nigerian is in the news. And, so just for an example, the issue that occurred in Pretoria, the e-hailing matter, where the gentleman was hacked to death.
The 22-year-old guy, student.
Yeah, yes. No one knew that guy is a Nigerian because he's a student.
Yeah.
It's later that it occurred that, he's a Nigerian. So, but no one knew that he was a Nigerian. But South Africa stood out to say, no, this is a crime.
And true.
Yes.
True.
And they
it was
came
all
out,
over social media.
Yeah, they came out in mass to say, no, irrespective, it could be anyone.
Yeah.
That, yes, this is a crime, it must be condemned. So those are the kind of approach that even if a Nigerian commits a crime, no Nigerian should support that person.
Yeah.
Everyone should come out and condemn them to say, no, we are not part of this ill. And when a Nigerian does something good, I can tell that a lot of Nigerians in different sectors in this country doing amazingly well. But nobody talks about it. Nobody celebrates them. It has come to time we must celebrate the uniqueness of Africans in South Africa, doing well, contributing to the economy of this nation.
People do say some South Africans are xenophobic. They say, they don't like foreigners. As a matter of fact, when you go online, you wonder, are some of these people are they fighting against foreigners or fighting against illegal foreigners? Because at some point, you're not even sure what is going on. It's just in between the two. But personally, I don't think South Africans are like that because of my personal experience. I've got great friends. I've got a lot of people that I've worked over the years, So it's not, you cannot just call a whole nation based on some few people who, but from your experience, or your perspective, the issue of xenophobia and all that, what's your take on it?
Thank you very much. This is an area that most people do not want to engage online. But I told you this morning that I'm much comfortable. Let me tell you something from my background. I schooled here in this country. I did my LLB. I have colleagues at school. In fact, I'm in the better position to tell you. I did my master's with the University of Pretoria. I've been in the legal industry, having colleagues, fellow practitioners that are South Africans. I can tell you that just same manner that some Nigerians are labeled criminals and people generalize them. There are also elements within the South Africans that do not appreciate anything foreigner. but not all. So generalizing South Africans as being xenophobic, that is unfair assessment. There are wonderful South Africans. I told them a lot of South Africans are also in Nigeria doing businesses, doing different kind of, some of them is not even aware. Let me tell you something. South Africans needed a kind of healing, you see, from the injustice of the past. And it's like a nation undergoing kind of healing process. They've been in the dark, caused by apartheid.
For so many years.
For so many years. And now here is a trend. They think maybe these African brothers are now coming. They were not part of the struggle with them, although indirectly they say they were part of it. But they fought alone to defeat apartheid.
Absolutely.
But they know that you cannot defeat apartheid without external allies.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And those are what need to be taught in schools. Some of them are not aware. To say, these your brothers also fought alongside with you to cripple apartheid. Now coming back to say, is South African xenophobic? You see, if you understand the real word xenophobic, it is more broader. From my understanding, it should not be xenophobic, it should be Afrophobic.
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 Okay.
Afrophobic in the nature that you see most of the things we see on the social medias, Dudulas and others, they have never been to a white establishment. We have people from Australia that are here that are illegal. Okay.
A lot.
And they have advantage because of color.
Skin color.
Skin color. So within a black man, a black South African, they think maybe once you're a white person, you are part of the old South African system that are here. They do not understand that there are foreigners with white skins. And whenever they target people, they do not target these people with other color. So once you target people from outside, foreigner in general, then you can tag that as xenophobic.
Oh.
So when you target everyone, you don't like foreigners in general, then that is xenophobic. But when you target set of people, blacks, then we say that is Afrophobic. And why Afrophobic? Why Afrophobic is because the ordinary South African thinks that the foreigners will come here and compete with them. Their claims are legitimate. Let me tell you. I used to say that I need to balance it. I am doing a study on this already with the University of South Africa in my PhD. Their claims are legitimate. What happened is employers, there is employment law in this country, Labor Relations Act, which is quite clear. Employers want to hire cheap laborers against South Africans that are qualified for those work, because they know every South African knows their right.
Absolutely.
And they could take you to CCMA or to the labor court to enforce their rights. So what the employer does is they take advantage. It's modern slavery. They rather hire a Zimbabwean with same skill.
I was going to mention Zimbabwe because it's been in a topic as well.
Yes.
As Zimbabweans taking lower wages compared to...
Yeah, that is the main problem. That is the main problem. So now, there should be enforcement mechanism that targets, even the Dudua, they need to understand the policy. They need to change their policy. Who is enabling a crime? You see, when we talk about a crime, if this is a criminal that is still cell phone here or camera here, and somebody is buying those cell phones from him, so he's enabling the crime. Now,
the person buying
is enabling the crime. Is enabling the crime. So if there is no buyer, the person stealing might think twice to say, where will I sell? Because there is no market for me.
Exactly.
So same thing when employers employ illegal migrants.
For cheap labor.
For cheap labor. To take advantage of them. It's not even in the interest of those people they're employing.
Absolutely.
Is to take advantage of them.
True.
Then there comes the plight of South Africans that are qualified that have gone to school, that are job hunting. That is the real issue to address. So the fight or the anger should be taken to the right quarters. If there are no employers willing to take this, the people will stop flocking into the country. So there's different ways of addressing the issue. And a man that is hungry can always go to where he's going to get meal.
Talking about Nigerians here in South Africa, you did mention the bad eggs.
Correct.
And unfortunately, negative things go faster than the positive. Now, I'm glad you admitted that, yeah, there are a few bad eggs,
Correct.
And it's causing some funny stereotypes. But what is the Nigerian Union South Africa doing about the bad eggs?
Okay. In the past, even my predecessors have done it. We have a policy to collaborate with South African police, to collaborate with South African immigration, to collaborate with the authorities to condemn once there's just like any criminal. For example, what has happened?
Yeah.
That the 5 or 6 South Africans killed someone. So they expect the union, once there's an alarm that somebody has done something, the union should speak out to distance themselves from that person, not to provide the person any kind of consolation or assistance. And also to work with the union to say, okay, within this community, these are the people that are destroying our image, so that the authority can deal with those people. That is what we've been doing. And also we're encouraging, while we're encouraging to expose the bad eggs, South African system, media, should also celebrate and expose the good ones amongst us, so that the average South Africans and Africans will understand there are people doing good in the country.
Amazing, amazing. So
it should be a balanced view.
Yeah, I agree with you. But have you made any progress so far since you became the president? Is there some progress in terms of getting the bad ones, like you said?
Correct.
Have you made some progress?
Yes, we have made a lot of progress. We collaborated last time we had a Congress. The Silverton police commander were present. They came to speak. So we have been doing a lot of collaborative work together.
I've listened to Julius Malema talk about a borderless Africa several times. Now I'm going to ask 2 questions. Number one, do you think there's pressure on South Africa from every other country from Africa? Now you are moving from Nigeria to other countries. We have Ghanaians here. As a matter of fact, when I came in 2013, I tell people that this is one of the countries where you see all form of nationalities. Correct. I find that very weird. Like, I met somebody from Burundi. I met someone from Ethiopia, Somalia. I met someone from Central African Republic. I knew that country exists, but the guy is in Santi. He said, I'm from Central African Republic. I was like, what? That's a very small country. That's not too far from Nigeria, but they're close to us, but we still haven't met people from that side. I met someone from Niger, from, name it. So do you think there's a pressure on South Africa from different countries? And then number 2, I want to talk about borderless Africa. When we talk about Schengen, when you go to Spain, for example, and you want to travel to Belgium, it's a local flight.
Or local train.
Yeah, it's a local train. You don't need to submit your passport, or you don't need to apply for a separate visa. So that Schengen thing, do you think is going to, if we, put it like Julius Malema has been calling for, that borderless thing, do you think is the solution?
First of all,
yeah,
we need to speak on Pan-Africanism.
Exactly. Yeah. That's where I'm going.
Yes. The ideal and the philosophies and the underlying ideas behind Pan-Africanism is that the Africans should see themselves as one, and to be able to decolonize the people. As you know, that the borders between South Africa and Zimbabwe, in fact, all the borders within Africa are artificial borders created by businessmen.
Which are the colonialists?
Colonial masters, because it was economic interest. And now, those things have already been planted in us. So, And first of all, the philosophy of Africanism or black consciousness, for us to at least know who we are, our true identity. With that, the issue of Afrophobia can be conquered, one. And if that is not conquered, because this is a war of the mind.
War of the mind.
Yes, as well as intellect. How can this be achieved if we do not see things from the same vantage or perspective? Those who are more proponent of borderless Africa are more in the mind Pan-Africans. Now, the question will be, before I answer the question, the pressure in South Africa, what are the fears that South African has, so as other African countries? South Africa sees itself as, okay, the Europe in Africa.
I agree.
And now, why should we be concerned about borderless Africa? Because we are okay. But the policy, let me tell you something, if there is a war or instability in Zimbabwean government today, more pressure will be put in South African government. International relations, international. So the question is, you cannot contain it. South Africa has a lot of role to play, because even if there are soldiers or police at the border to shoot and kill everyone, when the other countries are not stable, indirectly they put pressure in your country.
True.
And that is the reason why there is foreign missions, sending soldiers to go defend this country's economy, defend the country's politics, to ensure that that country is stable. Once it's not stable, you will see a lot of influx of people, illegal aliens, coming to your country. Now, to ensure that we dismantle, the idea is dismantling the artificial colonial system that was designed to put us down. We must all think the same. We should not be selfish to ourselves in that issue. Because once some countries say, no, why should we do that? Because we're better than these other countries. So it's like comparing yourself with yourself. They say, after all, I'm driving Benz, you are still driving tricycle. Not forgetting that it's your brother, that you need to hold hand and dismantle the colonial imperialist system that has been planted. Yes, of course, there is pressure in South Africa to accept it. There is, and there will continue to be pressure. Whether South Africa likes it or not, the pressure will keep coming. And there is a collective call that African leaders, do we have the right leaders who can push for these policies, uniform policy? So it starts with the leadership. It starts with the proper people in leadership position to be able to say, how do we take Africa out of the shackle that they're in?
When you say leadership, like leadership in other countries?
In other countries, yes. African leaders. You cannot speak about a country whereby a 80-year-old is still running for an election. So those are the things African Union, we look at African Union, what does African Union stand for? Could they impose sanctions? Could they be able to, if the African Union is just an example as a test run of whether a borderless Africa will work, because there will be a common police. There's a lot of things. If someone steals here, there's a lot of policy that is going to be involved. If someone steals here and jumps into a border and now get into a train that is moving to Accra, so there's a lot that is going to be involved. So it needs a clear policy. It needs a test run. I believe in borderless Africa. I believe with a clear vision, with a clear implementation of clear policies, we could achieve it. With that, looking at it economic-wise.
Yes,
Economic-wise.
like there's so many advantages.
Yes, many advantage.
Economically,
Economically, definitely. So you could send something, something we can produce within ourselves that will go around within the country, will boost the African economy. And mind you that the superpowers may not also want it to work.
Thank you. That's it. Another topic entirely.
Yeah, they might not want it because there's a lot of politics involved. Yeah, so they will they install leaders. They're part of the politics. Because of their interest, because they know once you are more cooperated, you don't need aids, you don't need handouts from them. And when you are more stronger and you don't really need me, they're in trouble. So obviously they will use some of us against us.
Like they did for this Congo, is it Patrice Lumumba?
Lumumba, yeah.
They used his people against him.
Exactly.
Even Kwame Nkrumah.
Yeah, definitely.
The same thing. Yeah. Same thing.
So that has been the trend, yes.
Do you think it's still happening today?
Yeah, it does. It does happen today.
Where they use one of us to betray us.
That's what we call the 21st century colonialism, not the type we used to know, where Britain would come with their warship in front of your yard, then send in people with foot and boats. Now what they do, they rule Africa indirectly. They put your person, they tell your person what to do for their own interest.
I believe that we can go on and on. There are so many questions that I didn't even touch regarding Africa, but I believe that some other time we would look into it again and talk about it. And I believe that this episode has opened up more conversations. I know we'll get comments, we'll get, but the engagement continues. We can't stop, We have to keep talking about it until we get the result that we want. Even when we get the result, we'll still keep talking. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I will appreciate on the next episode, we should get South African in leadership so we can engage and speak about the feelings and the kind of pressure they also get from the citizen. You can see the elections, now it is the issue of the foreigners that drives the votes.
Which can be a distraction.
And it's a distraction, and the populace or the citizens are forgetting to start asking real questions. What are the policies that you have for us? What do you have for us? Okay, besides the foreigner, yes, we get that it's important. But what are your policies to move us forward? What are your policies to deal with this issue of migration? What are your policies to deal with the issue of influx? What are your policies if we elect you? But you elect people just like Mackenzie. He used the same propaganda to get into government. It's obvious. What is he doing now? He got there, it's not how he saw it from outside. And now he said, no, I'm on the table. If you watch, like say, I'm sitting on the table. You want me to run after foreigners on the street?
He's busy with the World Cup. I mean,
no.
Like
remember his last year, his last comment, he said, those who voted him want him to be chasing foreigners. But he said, no, I'm on the table where policies are made.
He said that?
Yeah, he said that. Go and watch it.
I didn't see that.
No, I'm quoting him. He said so, meaning that he now have seen things from the inside. So we need policies. I hear from him, we need policies. We need to change the world view from an African perspective. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prince Barrister Smart Nwobi, an attorney of the Federal Republic of South Africa. And thank you for watching, guys. If you have comments, please let us know on the comment section. And I believe next time we're going to have another conversation that will drive Africa forward on Africa Talk on the Lifestyle League. See you on the next episode. My name is Durotimi Daniel. Thank you very much.